Possible, you can video and upload it in your YouTube channel.
I'll do that, man. I'll do that. I'll definitely do that. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. I'll be giving you a glimpse of a very important examination, especially for those who want to pursue their higher studies in mathematics after BSc. It's about a particular examination called JAM. JAM 2025 is what I'm going to talk about. To begin with, this is an overview of my presentation. So as you can see here, I'll be specifically talking about one examination called JAM examination mathematics. In that, I'll be talking about the important dates, the cities in which the examination is conducted, the syllabus, the test paper pattern, and the rank and merit list and things like that. Before talking about JAM, talking about some of the opportunities in higher education for mathematics graduates. Yeah, I hope most of you know about some of the opportunities. Obviously, one can get into an MSc in mathematics or mathematical sciences or statistics if he or she has completed her BSc in mathematics. Also, one can get into an integrated PhD program in mathematics. What do you mean by integrated PhD program? Anyone who knows what this means?
MSc plus PhD.
Yeah, so basically, this is a program where you get into a PhD course straight away, and that will be called an integrated PhD program. So, for the first 2 years, you will be having a curriculum which pertains to MSc, and in continuation with that, you will be also able to pursue your PhD. Okay, this course is called an integrated PhD program. There's also something called a joint MSc PhD program in mathematics once again. And then you have an MSc PhD dual degree program. And of course, going a little away from mathematics, you can also pursue MCA, which stands for Master in Computer Applications. And you can also pursue MBA, which stands for Master in Business Administration. Of course, there is also an option for one to get into an MTech, Master in Technology. Okay, this is also one option for those who have pursued mathematics in at undergraduate level as such. And you can also complete your B.Ed program. Okay, you can also take a B.Ed, Bachelor in Education, which will help you to get into teaching. So these are some of the opportunities for those who have completed or studied mathematics at undergraduate level as a major subject. Now, talking about some of the important or popular entrance examinations that are there for admissions to master's degree or PhD in mathematics. JAM, which I'm talking about right now. The full form is Joint Admission Test for Masters. And JEST, which stands for Joint Entrance Screening Test. CUET, which stands for Central University Entrance Test, which is for PG, getting into PG. ISI admission test. This is conducted by ISI, Indian Statistical Institute. And a similar test conducted by TIFR, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, called TIFR admission test. And you also have an NBHM, MA or MSc examination. NBHM stands here for National Board for Higher Mathematics. And similarly, you have CMI entrance examination, which is conducted by CMI, another prestigious institute in India, Chennai Mathematical Institute. Okay, now talking about particularly JAM. JAM, as I mentioned just earlier, stands for Joint Admission Test for Masters. Earlier, it was only for MSc, but now it is taken up for Masters. You will get to know why. It initially started off in the year 2004-2005. And it is being conducted to provide admissions to MSc, joint MSc PhD, dual degree integrated PhD to many of the premier institutes of the country, such as IISc, IITs, IISERs, and NITs. JAM has been established as a benchmark for the undergraduate level science education in the country. This examination is conducted only in online mode as a computer-based test. So there is nothing involving writing or anything such as that. You'll have to use a computer and you'll have to take up the test only on the computer. And it's not your own computer that you're going to use. It will be a computer that is being provided in the examination center. So JAM usually nowadays, earlier there used to be lesser number of papers, but nowadays there are going to be 7 different papers on which JAM examination is conducted: biotech, chemistry, economics, geology, mathematics, mathematical statistics, and physics. These are the 7 different subjects on which JAM is conducted. All these papers are of entirely objective type, and they will comprise of questions with 3 different patterns, namely multiple choice questions, shortly known as MCQs, multiple select questions known as MSQs, and numerical answer type questions called or shortly known as NATs. I'll explain as to what each of them mean a little later on. Still talking about JAM, as I mentioned earlier, applications are accepted only online through the JAM website, and no hard copies of documents to be sent to the organizing institute. All the documents have to be uploaded online, and there is no additional requirement such as suitability test or interview for those who have qualified JAM. Of course, there is an exception when it comes to IISc. A separate interview will be conducted at IISc for you to get into masters, but otherwise in all the other institutes, only the JAM score will be considered for admissions. And of course, there is no age restriction also. And JAM is open to all nationals, whether Indian or foreign. To get into an MSc program through JAM, foreign nationals specifically have to satisfy the rules and regulations of the admitting institutes pertaining to foreign students. As such, a candidate is required to qualify in the relevant test paper and also satisfy the minimum educational requirements or qualifications and eligibility requirements of the concerned academic program to apply for admission to a desired program through JAM. So basically, a candidate should clear JAM and also should satisfy the minimum educational qualifications. The candidates who have either appeared or are due to appear in the final examination of the qualifying degree are also eligible to appear in JAM. So basically, JAM is for those who are in the final year of their bachelor's degree or who have completed their bachelor's degree. It's not for anyone else as such. Okay, then talking about some of the institutes taking up admissions in JAM, as you can see here, there are so many institutes, IITs, which take up admissions through JAM. To name a few, Bhilai, Bhubaneswar, Bombay, Kharagpur, Madras, IIT Ropar, IIT Roorkee, IIT Patna, all these institutes take people through JAM. Of course, IISc Bengaluru also takes admissions through JAM, but the course that it offers for taking people through JAM would be the integrated PhD program. And as I mentioned earlier, a separate interview will also be conducted with along with the JAM score as such. Of course, some NITs, IIESTs, JNCASR, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, ISERS and all also offer admission based on the JAM scores. Yeah. Now talking about the JAM 2025, which is going to be conducted in the year 2025. Remember, this particular examination is for those who are now getting into the final year of their BSc program or who have already qualified BSc. Yeah, as you can see here, February 2nd, 2025 is the date on which the examination will be conducted. And the examination is going to be conducted in 2 sessions, one in the afternoon and the other one in the forenoon, morning and afternoon. In the morning, the examination is conducted for chemistry, geology, and mathematics. And in the afternoon, the examination is conducted for biotech, economics, mathematical statistics, and physics. And as you can see here, there is something that you will have to remember. Students who obviously they would not have taken a major, they would not have taken mathematics itself as a major subject only. They could have also taken another subject, in which case they can they have an option to take up 2 different papers as such when it comes to JAM. But for that to happen, as you can see here, they can take one subject in the morning and the other subject in the afternoon only. So obviously, as you can see here, a student can take up mathematics and physics, or mathematics and mathematical statistics, or chemistry and physics, and so on. But of course, it's not so very easy to prepare for 2 different papers altogether. So I would suggest you to prepare for one particular topic, one particular subject, and then write the test accordingly. But of course, there is an option. Now, talking about some of the important dates. Yeah, the reason why I scheduled this particular discussion today is because September 3rd is the date on which you'll be able to apply for the JAM examination. That is the date on which the commencement will happen for the online registration and application for JAM on the JAM website. October 11, 2024, that will be the last date for online application and also the uploading of documents on the website. Jan 2025, sometime during then, you will be able to download the JAM admit cards. And February 2nd, 2025 will be the date of JAM examination. And March 19, 2025 will be the date of announcement of results of JAM 2025. Of course, these dates are tentative and may be subject to change, but usually these dates would not change. Okay, talking about the examination cities. These are the different cities wherein the examinations will happen. I would specifically highlight on those centers or cities that are there in the IISc Bangalore zone. As you can see here, Belagavi, Belgaum, Bengaluru, Bidar, Kalaburgi, Hassan, Hubballi, Hyderabad, Kannur, Mangaluru, Mysuru, Shivamogga, all these places, the exams are going to be conducted. Right? The same way there are so many different cities wherein the examination is conducted throughout the country. So there are 8 different zones, as you can see here. So examinations are conducted in more than 100 cities across India as such. Now, talking about the fees details, this will be the prescribed application fees for females. For one test paper, the prescribed application fees is 900 rupees. And for 2 test papers, it is 1,250. And of course, it is the same for candidates who come from SC, ST, PWD background. And for all the other candidates, the examination fees is 1,800 for one test paper and 2,500 for 2 test papers. Talking about the syllabus, from now on, I'll be talking only about mathematics as such. Yeah, talking about the syllabus when it comes to mathematics, these are the different topics pertaining to the syllabus: sequences and series of real numbers, functions of one variable, functions of 2 or 3 real variables, integral calculus, differential equations, matrices, finite dimensional vector spaces, and groups. These are the broader topics. Talking about the specific syllabus in each of these topics, when it comes to sequences and series of real numbers, you have convergence of sequences, bounded and monotone sequences, Cauchy sequences, Bolzano-Weierstrass theorem, tests for convergence for series, various tests such as comparison test, ratio test, root test, and so on, radius of convergence and interval of convergence, and term-wise differentiation integration of power series. This is what you have when it comes to sequences and series of real numbers. Similarly, when it comes to functions of one real variable, you have limit, continuity, intermediate value property, differentiation, Rolle's theorem, mean value theorems, L'Hospital's rule, Taylor's and Maclaurin series, maxima and minima, and Riemann integration. Also, you have the fundamental theorem of calculus. Similarly, when it comes to functions of 2 or 3 real variables, you have limit, continuity, partial derivatives, maxima, minima, and in integral calculus, you have double and triple integrals. Under that, you have change of order of integration, applications of integration to find areas and volumes, as you can see here. Then in differential equations, you have Bernoulli's differential equation, exact differential equations, and then integrating factors, orthogonal trajectories, and then method of separation of variables, linear differential equations of second order with constant coefficients, and then method of variation of parameters, and also the Cauchy-Euler's equation. Under matrices, you have systems of linear equations, rank, nullity theorem, inverse, determinant, eigenvalues, and eigenvectors. Then finite dimensional vector spaces, you have linear independence of vectors, basis dimension, linear transformations, matrix representation, range space, null space, and the rank nullity theorem. And in groups, you have cyclic groups, abelian groups, non-abelian groups, permutation groups, normal and quotient groups, and you have Lagrange's theorem and group homomorphisms. So this is the broader view of the syllabus pertaining to mathematics. So as you would have seen by now, most of the content that is prescribed as the syllabus for JAM would be almost the same as what students would be studying under the courses that they would have had in undergraduate mathematics, in BSc mathematics to be precise, right? At least 60 to 70% of what you have in the syllabus is what you have here. So preparing for JAM would not be that very difficult as long as you are updated with what's happening with your regular classes. Yeah, coming to the test paper pattern, as mentioned earlier, the test will be an online computer-based test with a virtual calculator. The test will not be conducted offline, and it will not be a written test as such. It will only be an online test. And the duration of the test would be 3 hours. And of course, persons with disability, such candidates will be given compensatory time as per the guidelines of the Government of India. The medium of instructions and the medium of conduction of the examination will be English, and there will be 60 questions, and the number of marks for which these questions are asked would be 100. Now, talking about the exact pattern, as you can see in this, there are 3 sections in the question paper: Section A, Section B, and Section C. Section A will be comprising MCQs, multiple choice questions. There will be 30 questions here. In this, these 30 questions will be asked for 50 marks. I'll tell you how they are going to be divided later. Section B will be comprising MSQs or multiple select questions. Here, there will be 10 questions for 20 marks. And Section C, there will be 20 questions for 30 marks. Specifically talking about Section A, it contains 30 multiple choice questions, out of which there will be 10 questions carrying 1 mark each, so that it comes to 10 marks altogether. And the remaining 20 questions will be for 2 marks, and that will come to 40 marks, taking the total to 50 marks. Now here, each MCQ will have 4 choices, out of which exactly 1 is correct, and the student will have to choose that correct option. However, if a student chooses a wrong answer for a 1 mark question, that will result in a 1/3 negative mark, which comes to 0.33 negative mark. And if a student chooses a wrong answer for 2 marks question, that will result in a 2/3 negative mark, that comes to 0.66 negative marks. So Section A will be MCQs, 10 questions carrying 1 mark, 20 questions carrying 2 marks, and there will be negative marking, wherein 1/3 negative mark will be for wrong answer pertaining to a 1 mark question, and 2/3 negative marks will be for a wrong answer pertaining to a 2 marks question. Moving to Section B, now this is very interesting. This contains 10 questions which are multiple select questions, shortly known as MSQs. What this means is that, yeah, of course, these 10 questions, each of them will be for 2 marks, so that the total will be for 20 marks. Now, these questions are similar to MCQs, which means that there will be 4 choices. But the difference is that in these choices, there could be 1 or more correct choices. That means to say that the number of correct choices would be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3, or it could be 4. And full marks will be awarded only if all the correct choices are selected and no wrong answers are selected. Which means to say that, say, out of the options A, B, C, and D, Suppose the correct choices are A and C, then a student choosing exactly A and C will be awarded full marks. And if a student chooses only A, he or she will be given 0 marks. And if the student chooses A, C, and D, also then the student will be awarded 0 marks. So the student will be awarded full marks only when all the correct choices are selected and no wrong answers are selected. So here there will be no negative marking and there will be no partial marking provisions. Okay, so this is section B. Of course, as you can see here, because there are 10 questions carrying 2 marks each, total weightage will be 20 marks for the section B. Moving on to section C, it contains 20 numerical answer type questions, also known as NATs. Here, there will be 10 questions carrying 1 mark and 10 more questions carrying 2 marks, which comes to a total weightage of 30 marks. Here, the speciality about this particular section is that the answer is a signed real number. When I say signed real number, it could be a positive real number or a negative real number. So obviously the answer could be anything from minus infinity to plus infinity. And the number has to be entered using the virtual numerical keypad on the monitor. There'll be a keypad as such, numerical keypad on the monitor, and the student has to use that keypad to answer the question. And no choice will be shown, no choice will be given. Unlike what happens with section A and section B, wherein there are 4 choices, section C will have no choice whatsoever. It will be something like a fill in the blank question where the answer should be a positive or a negative or a 0 real number basically. So here as well, there will be no negative marking provisions and the total weightage will be 30 marks. Yeah, talking about some of the important instructions. In all sections, questions not attempted will result in 0 mark and there will be no provision for partial marking. The candidates are required to select the answers for MCQs and MSQs using the mouse, and the answers for NAT questions must be entered using a virtual numeric keypad which will be available on the screen. And the keyboard of the computer will be disabled. There is a provision for using online virtual calculator. Candidates are not allowed to bring in their own calculators. In fact, candidates are not allowed to carry their mobiles or any electronic gadget, and also they're not allowed to carry any graph sheet or any logarithm sheet or anything such as that. A scribbling pad will be given for rough work to the students. The candidates should write their name and registration number before using them, and the scribbling pad should be returned at the end of the examination. And the examination will end automatically after the stipulated time. The candidates will also be able to take a mock examination through a mock test link that will be made available on the JAM website before the examination for them to practice. And of course, the question papers of the last 3 years are also available on the JAM website for students to go through and also have a glimpse of how the questions could be asked as such. Right. So this is about the JAM examination as such. Now, moving further beyond the JAM examination, once the JAM examination happens and once the results are out, a rank and merit list will be prepared and an all India rank will be assigned to all appeared candidates based on the test performance. And for each test paper, an all India merit list will be prepared based on the all India ranking. Now, this is a very important thing. Those who have got some score as such when it comes to the JAM examination will not automatically get into a merit list. The merit list will be a short list based on the JAM scores of all the candidates who would have taken up the JAM examination pertaining to a particular subject as such. So those who appear in the merit list will be eligible to apply for admission to any of the corresponding academic programs available at IITs and IISc. Only candidates who qualify in JAM, that means whose names appear in the merit list, will be eligible to apply for admission to any of the academic programs available at the respective institutions. Now, when it comes to the admission procedure, the JAM scorecard will be available for download after a certain point usually during the months April and May for qualified candidates. And a qualified candidate may apply for admissions to all eligible programs with a single application. Candidates who have qualified in multiple test papers also need to apply with a single application. And a brief summary of the admission procedure is provided in this section, and detailed information including timelines will also be given in the admission brochure to be published in the second week of March. So basically there is going to be an admission brochure which will be published, which will have further information as to how the admission will take up as such. Now coming to the JAM cutoff score, this is a very important slide. Watch this. This should probably inspire you to take up JAM examination. Talking about the various years and the respective cutoff score, the latest cutoff score, as you can see in JAM 2024, which happened in the February of 2024, 11.22 out of 100 is the cutoff score for general merit. 10.09 is the cutoff for OBCs, and 5.61 is the cutoff for SC, ST, PWD candidates. Now, this, as I said, should inspire you as to why, or it should tell you as to why you should be able to take up JAM examination. Even if you score a decent score of around 15 or 20, that should be a very good score as such when it comes to the JAM examination. Of course, it's not the same every year. In 2023, the cutoff was 24.56 for general merit, 22 for OBCs, and 12 for SC, ST, PWD candidates, and so on. So every year, this will vary based on the difficulty level of the question paper as such. But nevertheless, as long as you score somewhere between 20 and 30, as you can see across years, it should be a decent score, and it should help you to qualify and get into the merit list, and through which you will be able to go ahead and take up admissions, right? So these are the cutoff scores. Probably with this, I should be ending with my presentation. Thank you for your patient listening. I'll end with this presentation here. I'll take up your questions in the next session. Thank you.